Hey everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm renovating this build or transforming it, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it's just basically the premise is that I take this house and make it half as expensive as it was before. I have a whole series of builds that I have like renovated, transformed, or whatever. And yeah, it's just something that I really enjoy doing, and it allows me to revisit builds that I have done and look at them from another angle basically, because oftentimes I don't look at what I'm putting down, how expensive it is. So yeah, here I really need to look at something and think, okay, this is really expensive. I don't really need that, or I can replace it with something. So, for example, the painting in the master bedroom I exchanged for another one, and I also did the same thing with the TV in the living room. And yeah, that is just a like iteration that I go through. So I just look at the rooms, what don't I need? What can I replace with something? And yeah, I'm doing that in all the rooms. And then if it's not enough, I go back and do the same thing again. And sometimes then I also shrink the house, and I will be doing that here as well because it just wasn't enough just replacing and removing items. I just needed some more like oomph in the renovation that I'm doing here. It just wasn't enough. In the backyard, I started with that pretty early on. So as you can see, I have already made it smaller. In the backyard, it's also a little bit easier to make the house smaller because or the space smaller, because if I do it with the house, I need to often change two floors, so it's always a little bit more difficult to do that, and also just the items and so on. So yeah, in the backyard I do it more often than in the for the house itself. And here you can see me shrinking the house just because I really needed to do that, because otherwise it just wouldn't have been enough. Yeah, and that is just what I'm doing basically. And here you can see that it didn't really look good with the front door if I moved it to the right a little bit because of the like windows up top and just the like layout. It was so symmetrical in that one area, so if I would have shifted the front door it would have looked weird. So I decided to shrink the bathroom downstairs, the front door is still centered inside as well, in that area at least. And that of course meant that I could delete some of the appliances in the bathroom, which is also really good because yeah, the appliances are often quite expensive. So if you have less of them, it means less money spent on different things. And yeah, what I also often do is look at the wallpaper and replace it with another swatch that is kind of similar. So for example, I had like a white stucco or something, just a white paint on the outside wall, and also in the inside I often have that had that, and I replaced it with like a minty color just because that was available. And then I shrank the other side of the house as well, and that meant that that half bath that I had just behind the bar area just wouldn't work anymore because it was too small. So I decided to turn it into a storage room. Now I'm also changing the color of the dormers because I knew that now I had to actually move them because otherwise they wouldn't be symmetrical on the roof, and it one would be further right or further to the right to in comparison to the edge than the other one. So yeah, I needed to change that. And yeah, I did that, and then I moved back inside and I decided to rearrange it a little bit because I made the um, room that is for the younger kid smaller. I decided to shift the bathroom that I had between them, the between the kids' rooms, and shift it into the teens or older kids' rooms. and yeah, that made it so I can also delete some of the stuff in the kids' room that is for the older kid. Yeah. And yeah, that is what I did. And then I still hadn't done enough, so I decided to move into the backyard again. And I replaced the table with a picnic table. The table and the chairs for the table I replaced with a picnic table, just because it's less money spent. And now I'm just really like fishing for things and moving around, doing like stuff so it looks less empty, even though there are fewer items there. And I also decided to change the rug in the dining room, and I exchanged it with a small rug, and that one I just sized up. And yeah, that of course means that it still looks big, but it's a lot less expensive because the smaller rugs are less expensive than the bigger ones normally. And in this case, it was like that. And yeah, I also decided to look at the windows again and deleted some of them. And yeah, now I'm really like searching for things. And I looked at the kitchen and the bar area again. I decided that I didn't actually need the bar stools because yeah, it's like really close to the living room. And then I decided to shrink the backyard again a little bit and move the furniture around there, which I needed a grid for because it just didn't really fit like I wanted it to fit, so that was difficult. And now I finally managed with that last shrinking of the back porch. Now you can see some screenshots of the build. I hope you like it. You can download it from the gallery. My ID is TGGSims, same as my YouTube channel name. I also hope that you liked the video and will consider pressing the thumbs up button and subscribing. Thanks very much for watching and have a great week. Bye!